So, Oscar, can you tell me about your tech or your innovation?
Right. So I guess, in a nutshell, we are breaking rock coming from the mines in a different way than traditionally has been for decades, probably millennia or centuries. And that is, we break rock with gas. And in doing so, we realize that we are exploiting the tensile stress of the rocks that is 10 times more effective than breaking rocks under compression, which is how traditionally rocks are being comminuted. That's the right verb. And so while we're doing so, we basically break rocks with gas instead of mechanical means. That in itself saves a lot of energy and therefore a lot of greenhouse emissions. So we are right now really understanding how much we're saving in terms of energy, but we are around 50 to 80% compared to traditional comminution media. So it's quite significant given the fact that comminution in mining, so the process of diminishing particle size to liberate minerals, that basically takes 3 to 4% of the global electricity consumption, equivalent to what Germany consumes in 1 year. So it's very, very, it's an energy hug, not only in the industry mining, but around the world. And we are in tune of potentially halving that energy consumption, if not more. So that's what we do in a nutshell. There's other aspects that we can get a little bit more into details, because we use CO2 as the fluid that helps us break the rock from within. We use that fluid CO2 in a pressurized system, which means we could potentially accelerate the decarbonization or the carbon sequestration, while at the same time we are breaking rock from within. So that's an aspect that we are right now studying a little bit deeper. Yeah. But that presents a huge potential opportunity for, on the one hand, not only saving energy and GHG emissions, but on the other, potentially also sequestering carbon at the same time.
Yeah. So one of the question was, what are the sustainability consideration to your solution? So that would be obviously perhaps decarbonization.
That's right. Yeah, and one aspect that I guess I should mention, because every time I express that we use CO2, people say, well, but that's you're using CO2, don't you just release that to the atmosphere and that's worse? I'm like, no. So it's a closed circuit utilization of CO2. So right now, I guess all across the industry, we are well aware of the CCUS, so the Carbon Capture, Usage and Sequestration acronym. So we're discovering that we are useful in the U and in the S. So the usage of carbon, because we use CO2 to fuel our process, and the S, because we sequester carbon at the end of our process. Doing all that while exerting work, breaking rocks from within, and liberating minerals in that way.
Nice, thank you. So I think you've touched a little bit on that, but what differentiate your innovations from others on the market? From my understanding, the process or the result is a lot better, but do you have any, is there competition? Is it,
Yeah, so in a nutshell, you have two major camps when you break rock. Either you smash it, and you apply forces of attrition or shear forces or compression. So that's one camp. And the other camp is you break the rock from within. So let me actually go in this direction for a second, because the 95+% of the technologies that we have right now in mining really only use compression forces. So this camp, and let me just tell you that camp, especially the very, very traditional systems like a ball mill, 95% of the energy that goes into a ball mill is wasted in heat and noise. Only a very small percentage of the energy that you consume, and mind you, that's a very large energy consumption, goes into breaking rock. So actually, I was yesterday looking at some stats that in Australia, 14% of the electricity consumed in the country, in Australia, goes into breaking rock. 14%. It's huge.
Wow.
Anyway, that's because of this camp that traditional comminution processes use. It's just the way it has been done since forever. So now we have a new camp, tensile stress-based comminution. So tensile, basically you're applying tensile stress, to break the rock from within. So that's us, that we use CO2 as a medium to do so. And there's also some other competing technologies that use high power electricity to apply onto the rock and break, essentially having a little micro crack, where high power is exerted, and thus the rock is breaking also from within. We believe we're a complementary technology from one another, because it seems as though, from what I've seen, and this is also technology in development, they only operate at certain particle size range, whereas we operate on the larger spectrum. Okay. So we could be complementing each other. Another aspect is, I believe they work with water, and that's obviously an undesirable medium to work with. We do not. We have the option to be waterless completely, or with addition of water. And also the other aspect that plays on our favor is that we could potentially decarbonize by sequestering carbon during our process. They don't have that option.
Mm-hmm. Oh, fantastic. I'm learning a lot as well today. That's really cool. I'd like for you to just go through your success story. So kind of, how it started, what problem did you see in the industry that needed fixing? And then if you could go through your participation in obviously thinking critical, and where does that bring you now? And if you have other, I know you have other grants and prizes, so just shoot them out and hopefully I can.
Sure. Yeah. So let me address the first thing that I'm going to address is, where this idea came from. And so, Rockburst did not start with the idea of breaking rock. Actually, the whole idea began in Rockburst's parent company called Envisioning Labs. So that's also in my email. So Envisioning Labs is an R&D and climate innovation company. So what we do is basically we help develop climate innovations that do not exist. And what we do, the secret sauce of Envisioning Labs, is really combining insights, learnings, and applications from one industry, and then almost forcibly combining them with something else. We've noted, for the 10 years that we've been in the business, that only when you combine the different perspectives of different disciplines and you take a look at the intersection in those two things, you find opportunities for innovation. So this idea of breaking rock with gas actually didn't come from the mining industry. It came from the food and beverage industry. A failed proposal that my CTO and the inventor of the technology, Cliff Edwards, he submitted an idea of, I believe it was, the challenge at the time was, to break food stuff, kind of like kernels of, food with CO2. So, they can puff. Imagine a Cheetos, right? Uh-huh. So, he said, well, like CO2 has been used for purposes that are similar to this, and extracting some oils like in cannabis industry and coffee and all other stuff. So this might as well work for food stuff. That proposal didn't go anywhere. But then months after, the government of Canada, through the Natural Resources Canada, the Ministry of Natural Resources in this country, they put out an open innovation challenge called Crush It Challenge, basically with the idea of minimizing the comminution energy, because they know that it's very, very energy intensive. So they said, okay, so this is an open challenge to whoever proves that your technology could minimize the baseline in 20% or more, come and talk to us. So we were one of the five finalists in that contest, because of the idea that was initially rejected for the food and beverage challenge. It took hold in the mining industry, and the government of Canada trusted that our idea was so out there that they gave us money to say, well, you need to prove that this works, because everybody else was actually proposing incremental innovations, and ours was just completely in the opposite direction. So kudos to the government of Canada, obviously, who supported us initially, but that was where the ball started to grow and grow bigger. And 3 years passed, we proved, we built prototypes, we definitely proved that this could be done. And we were very recently, we were to a point where the support from the government of Canada ended, and we needed to understand, okay, so now what else do we do with this idea? Because it's not yet fully commercialized. It's not fully commercial yet. We still need to do some more work on R&D to understand how we can scale this up. And that's where you guys came to fore. And we noted that this is an opportunity, you guys, potentially also with Oz Minerals and your sponsors, are very forward-thinking organizations, which is what, unfortunately, the government of Canada gives a lot of impulse for R&D, but after that, there's a little bit of vacuum, and you guys, filled it beautifully, because, you came at a time, where we needed that extra push. And we applied. Obviously, we started to think about Australia as a second base for Rockburst. We started to understand the many similarities between the Canadian geopolitics in mining and Australia. We have both countries. They have abundance of critical minerals. Some of them are yet to be explored, yet to be fully exploited. And we said, this is perfect. This is a great opportunity for us to just take advantage of this challenge, submit our application, try to imagine ourselves in a binational development / R&D / commercialization effort. And the more we thought about it, the more it made sense to us. There's a lot of similarities between these two countries, not just for business development, but also for R&D continuation that we're still doing. And it was a no-brainer. After we won the contest, your team invited us, to IMARC, and that's where the whole thing just took off. Because just being exposed to an international forum of that caliber, meeting you in person, meeting your team in person, together with the people from South Australia, which, by the way, they're doing a fantastic job in just pushing the whole objective of critical minerals. It took us a little bit by surprise, because we should be seeing this in Canada, but we haven't really. So it was great. It was a great overall experience for us, and also that gave us a limelight spot where we could interact with other people from other countries. So I met people from Madden at IMARC, that they invited me to go to the Future Minerals Forum in Riyadh this last January. So it started to kind of like a snowball from there. And I wouldn't exaggerate this, by saying that it was really because of your intervention and your trust in our technology and the extremely positive support that we have received, from your team, that we are now in this very nice position.
Oh, thank you. Well, that's beautiful. You're making me teary there. Can you tell me about your team? So you mentioned Cliff, is it? Yeah. And just tell me about what your team is, where they're based, but who started it, and sure, what kind of structure do you have?
Right. So we have 3 executives. So it's myself, Cliff Edwards, he's our CTO and inventor of the technology, and Chuck Lee, he's our Chief Operating Officer. And then we have a series of consultants and advisors, senior consultants that have worked in the mining industry for 30+ years. But because our technology is quite different, we also need advisors from other industries. And so we have some individuals serving as supercritical CO2 advising roles, because the way we understand our technology is less mining, more oil and gas / thermodynamic systems / high pressure systems. It's a little bit different. And so we have experts helping us there. Then if you take a look more at the bottom, well, not the bottom, but like more the different tentacles that we have now. And because R&D is still quite important in our operations, we have collaborations with 3 universities 2 in Canada and 1 in US. So here in Canada, we have UBC, University of British Columbia, we have University of Waterloo in Ontario, and Montana State University in US. And just very recently, because of our connections with you and South Australia, we are now having connections with the University of Adelaide, and we're going to be working on research projects starting this year. And next year, hopefully, if everything goes well, we'll be also part of the CRC Copper for Tomorrow initiative led by the University of Adelaide. So fingers crossed, it depends on how the bid goes, but if the bid goes well, we'll be part of that industrial consortium. So again, it's expanding, or the team is expanding a little bit more. We have certainly very key people that have been extremely crucial in the development of our technology. So we're lucky enough, once again, to apply the secret sauce of the innovation parent company onto here, to really understand that the only way to innovate is to having the opinions and insights of people and organizations that are seemingly different, but they can contribute some new ideas and fresh perspectives into our approach.
Yeah, that's nice. And to be fair, because this is so innovative, it's perfect for research and students and just that are so keen on that new technology.
Thank you, Alex.
Thank you, Oscar. Have a good night.
Bye-bye.